What inspired this film? I was a couple of things. One is that I wanted to do something in Asia, and I was in a meeting with Thomas Tull and John Jashny at Legendary, and they were interested in Asia too. And we thought about, when Thomas was saying how much he liked Heat, and there was anything that I was interested in that was large in scale like that, and I said, yes, there is. I'm kind of interested in what's happening in cyber technology and cyber intrusion, and I've been reading about Stuxnet, and so that kind of started the the ball rolling. And then in the research I did in Washington, that was it. I mean, that was this big eye opener into what constitutes this kind of conflict and drama in the cutting edge of right now of our lives, and hence hence the story, meaning that cybercrime, cyber intrusions, vulnerabilities, people hacking, black hat hacking, has been ubiquitous for years, and everybody in Washington 3 years ago was alarmed by it. And it was a big subject. The Pentagon had already set up their cyber warfare division. It was as big a division as any of the others, like the Army and the Navy, and new vulnerabilities were being discovered every day. And some of the people we were talking to could say, "You see the F-35? That's got stolen, and here it is in this other guy's Air Force." And you came back to LA and nobody knew what we were talking about. And and then as the years went by, I would kind of Google search, have, every time there's a hacking thing, I'm reading about it, and then it became, the TJ Maxx hack, and this bank gets hacked, and the Home Depot hack, and it's gotten now so that, plus with recent events, that everybody knows our subject. It starts with the story, and the exciting part of it was that this is a story. It's a human story. It's a drama of a guy who is is kind of running from his past, and is hoping to have some control over his future, if he has a future, and he may not have a future, which is the Hemsworth, Chris Hemsworth's Hathaway, who's paroled out of prison, who's furloughed out of prison, kind of a conditional release, if he'll help identify and apprehend a cyber criminal operating of major proportions, operating somewhere in the world like a ghost in a machine, then he may win a commutation of his sentence. And that launches him and the story and us into Hong Kong and Jakarta and Malaysia. But what happens within the story that was fascinating to me is that it's ripped from the cutting edge of right now. It's from our lives as we're living them today. It's not the kind of somebody interrogating an informant or a fence on a kind of crime that may have been prevalent 15 years ago, but we're still making stories about them. This is happening right now today. So the opportunity to work with a family of people and make a movie about something that's so current, that was really exciting. And that's what took us to these places. The realism comes from just kind of doing the work. I'm excited about doing a kind of immersive research. If I'm going to do a movie about a thief, I don't go look at other movies about thieves or read books about thieves. I go hang with a thief, and just getting with the real people who really do this, whatever it is the subject of the movie's about, is it's nothing like it. In fact, I can't imagine anybody. Why would anybody want to do it any other way? Because we're all human, and everybody's human, and we have these peculiarities, and we have identities, we have histories, we have we have a certain way we walk, talk, hold a coffee cup, attitudes about, you know, how you ask a girl out on a date, you know, what do you think of the material world, you know, your cosmology, how do you think, why we're here, you know, there's so much to it, educational background. So when you're with somebody who really does do this, you start, what happens is that characters suggest themselves. You know, they present themselves, they show up, you know. So we spent time with Kevin Poulsen, who's a convicted black hat hacker, spent 5 years in prison. Kind of a kid who went from hacking telephone systems to deciding that when Kiss Radio was going to auction off a Porsche to a certain number of callers, that he should be all the callers, and he won the Porsche. And he did 5 years in prison, and then he got out, and now he's an editor at Wired Magazine. Another guy, Chris McKinley, is a mathematician. Just got his PhD at UCLA, went through grad school as a Carl Connor in Vegas, went to Harbin, speaks Mandarin. Brilliant, brilliant guy. Reverse engineered iCupid and became the most desirable male in Los Angeles for a while. So when you meet these guys and you get into, you know, what's the turn on, you know, what do you, when you do it, what's the explain the heightened experience, explain how it makes you feel, why do you do what you do, and now tell me what it is that, you know, what it's like, what's the sensation of it, you know, and you get something like somebody telling you, well, it's kind of like an opiated positive feedback loop, you know, like when you're writing something, you're really concentrated, you're doing a math problem or playing chess, and you lose track of time. You know, we've all experienced this. You lose track of time. And, you know, you think 20 minutes went by and it's been 2 hours. That's kind of it. So it's kind of like the same thing that gamers get, but it's kind of escapism. But it's the reverse of the gamers, because the outcome for a gamer is only in the virtual world. The outcome for a black hat hacker is something kinetic happens in the physical world. He manipulates ones and zeros and writes code to make something physical occur in the real world. And it could be taking out a cooling system in a nuclear reactor in China and causing fuel rods to superheat and almost cause a meltdown for a reason, you know. And in our film, the adversary that they're fighting does this for a purpose. There's a crime plan involved, but Hathaway intuits that there's some correlation between it. The more damage that's done, in a way, there's also a gratification this guy gets. So there's a sociopathy that's operating here too.